Now, South Africans are becoming more vulnerable. An increasing number of South Africans are victims of identity theft. I wonder if you've ever been a victim of that. And in many cases, this is due to breaches of personal information, due to hacks at credit bureaus and even the justice system itself. So how do you know if you are a victim and what steps should you be taking? Joining us now this morning is Maya Fisher-French, who will talk us through all of this. Now, Maya, thank you so much for your time this morning. Now, your husband was a victim of ID theft. Tell us about that. What actually happened and how did he actually find out?
Well, this is, of course, when it comes right into your household, it becomes a real issue. So he happened to be looking at his bank statement and noticed that sort of a couple of weeks ago, this debit order from Vodacom had come off his bank account. And he thought, I don't have a Vodacom contract. So I said to him, go immediately and check your credit record. And that's what helps, you know, when you have a wife who knows these things. And he checked his credit record, and there it showed that an account had been opened in his name with Vodacom for an amount, I think, was 385 Rand. So he immediately stopped the debit order. Of course, it all comes with costs. You have to continuously prove that you didn't do this. So he had to stop the debit order with his bank, and then he contacted Vodacom. And then you have to prove that you weren't the person. So it takes affidavits and signatures and the whole thing. But in doing all of this, I obviously put this out on social media, and I found quite a lot of other people who have had a very similar experience. And actually all of them happen to be with Vodacom. And I think the cell phone companies are quite big targets for fraudsters, because what they do is they get hold of your personal information. And we have had so many hacks and data breaches over the last few years. It's not difficult for them. They know your name, they know your ID number, they have enough information to fool the online system. So you go on to Vodacom or MTN on an online application, and you've got enough information for them to believe they're dealing with you, with the real person. The cell phone then gets delivered to a building, and that fraudster then waits outside the building, takes the cell phone, and they're gone. So that's pretty much what is happening. And for you as the victim, obviously, you're now having to prove that this wasn't you. And once you've done that, then you know, obviously Vodacom will cancel a contract. But I do think, you know, when I look at how easy it was for this person to do this. I mean, even the things like we have these things in South Africa called DebiCheck, which is a mandate that you know the banks are supposed to approve the debit orders before they go through. But I spoke to Vodacom. They said no, they aren't using it yet. MTN says they're still rolling it out. So it's for me a lot that isn't protecting the consumer. You know, having actually gone through this and seeing how it's happening, I think consumers don't really have enough protection given the amount of information that has been breached out there.
Maya, you so eloquently point out the areas where this is a problem and how prevalent it really is. But what should one do in the event that you find out that your information has been compromised? Did you have to go to the police station, for example, and write out an affidavit? What are the A, B's and C's, the 1, 2, 3s, if you find out that your information has been breached?
I think the most important thing is to regularly check your credit record. That's really important, because that's where you find out if somebody's opened up an account in your name. But if and please check your debit orders. My husband didn't pick it up because, you know, the debit orders come through at the beginning of the month and they just get lost in all the other beeps that are coming through on your phone. So it is really worth your while just to double check your bank statement every month to see if there are debit orders going off there that shouldn't. Once, if you are a victim, then immediately inform your bank and stop the debit order. Then you need to contact the service provider. The service provider, in this case Vodacom, will give you a list of things they require, and one of them is going and getting an affidavit from the police station and specimen signatures and a whole lot of things that they require. So follow the paperwork. Also inform the credit bureau so that they are aware of it. And the other thing that we did with my husband, and I really think this is important if you've been a victim, is to register for protective registration. You do this with the South African Fraud Prevention Services. And that immediately what it does is it notifies all service providers that your ID has been compromised. And it adds another layer of authenticity or gone blank on the word, to authenticate the transaction. And so that is immediately what he's done. So we know that, because we know someone's got his ID. So we know that he's probably going to be attacked again and again. So what we need to do is make sure that that all the credit providers and service providers out there know. So that is one of the things that we've done as well. And I think that's an incredibly important step to follow.
Maya Fisher-French, thank you so much. Really important information that really pertains to each and every single one of us at some stage in our lives or the other. I mean, I do know at times as well, the banks actually do and can reimburse you for the monies that you have lost, and that affidavit there being all important. Thank you so much to Maya Fisher-French for that.